All right. Well, welcome back to the Primal King podcast. So today we have somebody who I'm stoked to talk with. He is someone who was raised in a single parent home, had massive success at a very young age, only to lose it all. He's talked openly about divorce, depression, bankruptcy. He's talked about his deepest, darkest times, but he's gone on to be a huge success in so many other areas, such as he's the owner and the founder of the business and the movement called Lions Not Sheep. He's the best-selling author of the book, How to Make Shit Happen, the host of the Revolution podcast. He's a high-level business coach and consultant, a social media and marketing genius whose posts and videos have been viewed by more than 600 million people. He's competed in cage fighting, off-road racing in the Mexican desert, and he has directly impacted countless lives with his no-holds-barred style and his blunt truth. Most importantly, though, he unapologetically lives life on his own terms. I want to welcome Mr. Sean Whalen. How you doing, Sean?
That was a great intro. That was good.
That was good?
That was great. Nailed it.
Awesome. So I know you have a huge following, and probably a lot of people maybe listening to this have heard of you, have seen you, have maybe watched some of your videos. But I kind of wanted to start back because, again, a lot of the podcast is built around liberation, lifestyle, and legacy. And I know that several years ago, you were running a business. You had hundreds of employees, a multi-million-dollar business. And yeah, I guess if you wouldn't mind, would you just kind of start your story with that and kind of let everybody know?
Yeah, man, I grew up in a single parent home. I was the hustler, the Gary V, blah, blah, blah. I did the whole deal. I was really successful at a young age. I dropped out of high school, went back and got my degree. I just was never really a studious kid. And I found a lot of success in my early 20s and made a lot of money and was your typical alpha. I didn't understand at the time what an alpha really was. I was just like making money, building life, trying to fit inside the box that I had been programmed to believe success was, which was the wife and the kids and the house and the cars and the Rolex and whatever. I was super successful by the definition and the terms that I had come to be programmed with. And the market crashed. I lost some money, continued to make money, but kind of went through if a midlife crisis means you burn your entire world to the ground, you leave your marriage, you leave your business, you leave basically life, you put a 9mm in your mouth and you contemplate killing yourself, and that's what I did. I had a midlife crisis. So I found myself in a really interesting predicament where I wasn't sure who I was, why I was even here. It was much deeper than like, oh shit, my business is struggling, or I need to do this, I need to do that. I was like, I didn't even know who the fuck I was. I didn't know what I was. I didn't know why I was here. I didn't know I have all of these things. I have cash. I have money. I have houses. I have land. I have a ski boat. I got whatever. Like, why am I not happy? And I went on a journey, and I spent almost 2 years with my head up my ass trying to figure out who the fuck I really was. And I found some interesting things there. I asked some really deep questions. I went into some really, really, really dark places. I hired a coach and a mentor that I had never done this before. I thought coaching was total bullshit. And I went on a journey, and I came out the other side, and I'm still coming out the other side as I'm living life, understanding more and more about me and about the social conditioning and about the programming and about the things that I was taught to believe and taught were success and taught what men do and what I should look like and how it should be and all these other things. And I came to find that 99.9% of the things that I'd ever been taught, from religion to parents to school, is all a lie. I started sharing my story. I shared some really, really, really dark shit about my divorce on social media, and it went viral. I had no intention. I didn't wake up one morning and go, you know what? I'm going to become this internet guy. I'm going to become this viral sensation. I want to become an influencer. I had a couple hundred friends and shared the same funny videos of fat kids falling off skateboards and dumb shit like that everybody else shares. And so I found myself in a place where I was challenged by my coach to start sharing my truth, sharing what was inside of me. And one of those posts happened to go viral, and it reached tens of millions of people. And it was all over the internet. And I went from a couple hundred friends to 50,000 followers and interviewed on podcasts like all over the world. And I found myself in an interesting position, an interesting situation where two things happened. One, I realized that I wasn't alone. I realized that the darkness that was inside of me, the shit that I was going through, the things I was dealing with, I wasn't alone. And the second thing was, as I started sharing my story and sharing my truth and letting this darkness out, I started feeling better. And I was kind of like, oh, this is an interesting deal. And so I started sharing more and sharing deeper and sharing more and sharing deeper. And I started feeling better and connecting with more and more people, and more things were going viral. And here we are.
Awesome. Awesome. So I want to ask you though, because when you talk about opening up and you only had a couple hundred friends, was it scary? Like, I mean, the first time you hit send on that first vulnerable post, if you want to call it that, right? Like, what was going through your thought? Because I think a lot of people listening to this, they're going through some of the things that you just talked about, but they do feel alone, and they feel like if they put anything out there, they'll be judged.
So like, you will be. You will be. And let me let everyone listening in, let me let you in on a little secret. And it's not really a secret, but this is a scientific proven fact, okay? Based off of all of the media, based off of every single thing you can do. No matter what you do, no matter what you say, you're going to be judged. Yep. And I lived that life. I did everything based off of what I was being judged on. This is what success looked like. This is what parenting looked like. This is what dads look like. This is what men look like. And I realized something, like, if you're fat, you're going to be judged as being a lazy piece of shit. And if you're ripped, if you're in great shape, you got good biceps, you've got to be on steroids. You've got to be taking drugs. Well, if you're poor, you're undisciplined, you're lazy. If you're rich, you're a snake oil salesman. You have to be ripping people off. So no matter where you are on the spectrum, you're going to be judged. Fat, ripped, rich, poor, you're going to be judged. And all of a sudden I started seeing this, like, no matter what I say, if I post a picture of my dogs, people are going to be like, he hates cats. And I'm like, why the fuck do I care about these people, especially in this lava land of social media that I don't know, that don't pay my bills, that I've never met, that I'll likely never met? Why the fuck would I live a life based around what other people think of me? We hear this, and there's been thousands and thousands and thousands of books, but something that I realized and that I share with my clients frequently is, like, you're going to be judged. You're going to be judged by your family, by your friends, by your church, by your religion, by your neighbors, by your coworkers, by your employees, by your fucking golfing buddies, your friends. Everyone's going to judge you, no matter what you do. So my question that I always ask my clients, and that I was asked, that really changed my life, is, well, what do you want? And this is what I wanted. And I realized that it was completely contrary to everything that I had been taught, everything that I thought I believed, everything that was normal. And as I went down this path, the two things happened. I realized, number one, I wasn't alone. I mean, dude, I built a million-plus person tribe talking about darkness, talking about suicide, depression, bankruptcy, divorce, all the stuff we're not supposed to talk about. Sex, money, politics, religion. We don't talk about any of this shit, right? It's not socially acceptable. It's not politically correct. Fuck all that. That's all I talk about. And yet I have this massive tribe of people that have like come to this message, right? That have gravitated towards this. But more importantly than that, as I've shared my life, as I've shared my journey, as I've shared my darkness, I've felt better. And to me, the mathematical algorithm, the equation is if I'm doing something and I feel better, don't I want to do more of that? Right. If you're around certain people and they help you feel good, don't you want to be around those people versus like the leeches and the bloodsuckers who don't give a fuck about you? Like if you're eating this type of food and it makes you feel better and your body's results are proving it, well, don't you want that versus like the dog shit? And that's the simple equation for me is as I've shared vulnerable stuff, it is scary, but it's just like working out. It's just like anything else. The more you do it, the better you get. And so I've spent the last 3.5, 4 years using social media as almost a therapist. It's almost like a therapy thing for me. Like I just fucking bang out my thoughts and I hit send and I put it out there in front of the world. And people are like, oh my God, you're a racist, you're a bigot, you're this, you're this. I'm like, I don't fucking care about any of you. I truly don't fucking care. But
how do you get there? Like seriously, because I think that so many people struggle with that. They're like, I don't care. And then they hit it. And the first person that does a negative comment, they're like, oh my gosh. Like, I'll be honest. Like I've had that in the past where it's like, oh my gosh, like they're calling me, you know, whatever, like you said, you're a racist, you're a bigot, you're that. And then all of a sudden, like, do you ever worry that any of that stuff is going to stick and tarnish you or like?
Dude, well, what does tarnish me mean? What does stick mean? That's the beauty of, but I ran for Congress last year. Okay.
Yeah, I remember seeing that.
And I was completely irreverent. I did shit my way. And I didn't win, but I did way better than anybody predicted. I beat a national party, which is unheard of. I beat the Libertarian Party, which is unfucking heard of, right? But I did that literally mocking politics. I did it mocking politicians. I did it my way. I did it like saying the things that I wanted to say. And I realized that like, dude, like I've got one shot at this, right? And you can go to Instagram and you see all the memes and Gary Vee and blah, 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 and all these dudes like, live your best life, the whole thing. But like, really stop and think about that. Like, you're fucking dying. I'm dying. Like, I'm headed towards the grave. We're all going there. I don't give a shit how cool you are, how many guns you got, how much money you got, how big your house is. You're gonna fucking die. And the thing that I came to realize is like, all of these people that have come before me, all these moguls, these icons, right? They all say the same thing at the end of their book, which is if I could go back and do it all over again, I would have spent more time with my family and I would have done more shit that I wanted to do. All of them. Carnegie's, the Rockefellers, the Steve Jobs, all of them. I mean, Steve Jobs, his like big, huge thing that he said before he died is like world renowned. People share it all the time on social media about living your own life and living your dreams, but no one fucking does it. We post the memes, but no one fucking does it. I just chose to do it. I chose to truly tell the entire world to fuck off. And that's hard for people to understand because I'm the most generous, giving person you'll ever meet. Like I love human beings. I love interaction, yet I don't give a fuck about any of them. And that's like this dichotomy that people have to wrap their head around is like, this is my journey, my deal, my story.
So why do you think it is then? Because I know you've worked with tons of people and, you know, spoken from some of the biggest stages. Like, why do you think it is that so many people out there just continue to live in the fear, even though it's not like they know they're not getting where they want to get. They know they're not hitting their goals. They know they're broke. They know they're fat, whatever it may be, like, but yet they will stay there because they have this false sense of security or comfort. Like, why do you think they would stay there even though they know it's not comfortable for them or they know it's not getting them where ultimately they want to be? Like, why stay there?
Yeah, well, a couple different reasons. The biggest reason is because we've been programmed to lie since we were little kids. And you stop and think about this. I don't care how old you are. I don't care if you're black, white, gay, straight, rich, poor, it doesn't fucking matter. We've all been programmed the exact same way. Since we were little children, sit down, quiet down, slow down, do as you're told. If you're in elementary school, like, you got to raise your hand. Can I go take a piss, right? If you stop and think about that, like, your religion, if you're religious, you went to church and like, this is what's good and this is what's bad. Don't do this or you're going to go to hell. Don't do this or you're going to embarrass your family. And if you were like me and you were a little kid and you got in trouble at school, what did school do? You went to the principal's office and you got in trouble there, but then they called your dad and your dad whooped your ass when you got home. If you were like me, right? And so we were literally programmed to just be little fucking sheep. Just do as you're told. Follow everybody else. Go to school, get an education, get a job, punch a clock, work for somebody, find a chick, get married, smash out a couple kids, climb this ladder. Here's the, 20 years in the job. You're going to get this pension. It's going to be great. You'll be fine. You'll be set forever. Yada, yada, yada. You'll get a gold watch. You'll retire. Then maybe you'll have enough that you can vacation a little bit more and then die. I mean, that's literally the American dream. That's the American dream. It's a fucking nightmare. It's a goddamn nightmare. And people are living this dream because if they drop out of college, mom and dad are going to be pissed. If they go do this, mom and dad are going to be pissed. If they go do this, you're going to offend the family and you're going to whatever. This is how it's always been done. Well, newsflash. Mom's popping Xanax like the fucking Skittles. Dad's banging 6 of his secretaries. Like, I don't even know who my family is. My brother's hopped up on heroin. My sister's knocked up 6 times by 6 different dudes. Newsflash. How we've been doing it doesn't seem to be fucking working for anybody. Is it possible that this isn't the right play? So then when you step back and you're like, well, what the fuck do I want? I mean, dude, we're the fattest we've ever been as a culture, our whole society. We're as dumb as we've ever fucking been. People are going into debt $100,000 to get a $30,000 fucking job. I'm not the sharpest fucking pencil in the box, but that doesn't make any logical sense. You know what I'm saying? Like, these kinds of conversations are not normal. They're not commonplace because it rocks the boat. And so when I talk to people, they're like, well, this is how it's always been done. Well, cool, man, then keep doing it. And you're going to be just as miserable as your dad, and you're going to end up just as fucking broke, and you're going to be working for 50 years, and then you're never going to stop working because you don't have any fucking retirement because you've had to spend it on your brother's rehab and all kinds of other dumb shit. And people literally just have been blinded to this reality that we have the ability to wake up and create whatever we want. Sean, that's easy for you to say. No, motherfucker, I grew up in a single-parent home. There's no silver spoon near my mouth. I went broke. I went bankrupt when I was 32 years old. Fuck off with that silver spoon bullshit. I woke up one day and I was tired of being tired. I was tired of being in this fucking rat race, and I did something about it. I did what other people weren't willing to do. And my results show it. You know what I'm saying? And so it doesn't make me special. I'm not gifted. I'm fucking dumb. I didn't go to college. I don't have a college degree. I don't have a paper on the wall. You know what I mean? I just decided one day, I'm like, dude, I'm going to fucking die, man. Like, I'm going to fucking die. Why am I not doing everything that I want to do today? And I just quit making excuses, and all the excuses of, well, this and this and this and this and this. No, bullshit, man. Bullshit. It's all excuses.
Well, then I've seen some of the interaction too in your comments when you post stuff, like you're saying, like, just do it. And it's like, but Sean, I have a wife and kids, and I have to make money.
I got an ex-wife. I got child support. I got bills. You think AT&T didn't call me and go, hey, pal, let's give you a free cell phone. Apple doesn't call me and send me computers. My fucking chickens don't eat their own goddamn whatever. I got to go buy chicken food. I got to put gas in my car. I don't roll up to Chevron and go, hey, guys, it's Sean Whalen. Oh, here you go, Mr. Whalen. Here's all the free gas that you want. No, I drive a big 1-ton gas-guzzling fucking truck. It sucks a ton of money out of me every single month. I got the same shit as everybody else. I just quit making excuses, period. Kids, life, soccer practice, bills, all kinds of shit. Like, I've got the exact same scenario as everyone else on this planet, as every dude listening to this podcast. I just quit being a fucking bitch, like making excuses because I was too damn scared to go do my own shit. Now, that might offend some people. I don't give a fuck. The reality is that, like, if you're living the rules based off somebody else's reality, don't fucking complain, bro, because you literally have every single person listening to this has a smartphone. I don't really know anybody. I lie, though. I was in New York 2 weeks ago, and I saw a dude on the subway with a flip phone. I'm like, bro, what is that? I was like, do you have a Palm Pilot too? I bet you that guy's got a Palm Pilot too. Everybody's got a smartphone. And I challenge people with this. And then let me prove this point, okay? Like, literally the answer to every single question is online. How do I make $1 million? How do I start a business? How do I sell shit on eBay? How do I do this? How do I do that? How do I build a house? NASA has blueprints of how to build a spaceship online. I kid you not. Google it.
Yeah.
NASA has published blueprints of how to build a motherfucking spaceship. And you want to tell me that you don't have access and resources and ability? See, what you don't have is resourcefulness. We all have resources, but what we don't share in commonality is resourcefulness.
Yep.
And that's the difference between me and a lot of other people, and you and a lot of other people, and people that sit around and bitch and moan, and people that go make shit happen. We all have the same information. We all have the same tools. We all have the same technology. But where we are different is that we all have the same resources, but what we don't share is resourcefulness. And that's a complete decision that somebody has to make. That can't be taught in college. It can't be taught in a book. It can't be taught whatever. You just have to decide, I'm going to become a resourceful motherfucker and decide how to get myself out of this situation.
So did you, like, going back a few years then, did you ever picture that you would be where you are now? I don't know if you want to call it famous or an influencer or whatever the term is, but like, did you ever like picture that your lifestyle would look how it is? Like, you're out racing with your sons in the desert. You're, you know, going to these different events. You're able to get the shares and the likes and the comments and all of that. Like, you're able to make an impact, I guess is what I'm saying. Like, when you first started down this path, was that even a thought in your mind?
No, not at all. I mean, when I shared that post, the very first post that ever went viral was me sharing a picture of me with my ex-wife's new baby. And this is a longer story than we have time for. People can read it. It's all over. I've shared it on podcasts.
Like,
and my
literally
website.
Millions upon millions of shares, right?
Millions. I literally sat down one night and I had taken the selfie with my ex's baby. And I mean, this, like, I had a restraining order against her. Like, it was a bad deal. It was a bad divorce. It was nasty. We were fucking mad. We picked up and dropped off our kids from a police station for 6 months. That's how bad it was. So for everybody's like, oh, you don't know how bad my story is. Bullshit. I know exactly how fucking bad it is, because I literally, like, had police escort my children back and forth. Like, it was fucked. And I shared that post that one night, and I did what most men aren't willing to do. And I did something that I hadn't been willing to do up until that point. I hadn't been willing to tell the truth. I had talked about how big of a bitch she was and how mean she was and how bad of a mom she was. And for the first time, I sat down on my bed as my kids were getting ready, and I just literally cranked out this message. I was like, none of y'all have any idea how, like, powerful this picture is. Like, I hated this woman. I wanted her to get hit by a fucking bus, man. And here I was holding her baby, her new baby. I was an asshole. I said a lot of dumb shit. I did a lot of dumb shit. I was an angry man. I was an angry man. And for the first time ever, I told the truth. And I didn't put a but in there. I didn't say, well, yeah, I said dumb shit, but it was because she did. Or I did dumb shit, but I just fucking owned my shit. I just said, dude, I was a dick. I was an asshole. And I left it at that. And I think that's what resonated with people. And I think that's why people resonate with me is they know, like, look, you might not like my politics. I love Trump. You might hate Trump. I don't give a shit either way. We could debate it and talk about it all day long. But, like, people that follow me, that know me, that meet me in person, I'm the same asshole in person as I am online. I share the same freaking shit. I'm the same hyped up dude. I'm the same quiet dude. I love sitting on my back deck smoking a cigar. I love dancing with my daughter. I love punching motherfuckers in the face in an MMA ring, right? Like, I'm cool with all of that. That's just me. But I think what resonates with people is they realize that it's truth. Like, what I speak is truth. It's how I really feel. I'm not here to appease you. I get asked to do podcasts all the time. And I've had people say, well, dude, we don't swear on our podcast. I was like, cool, then you better have a good motherfucking editor to push the button a bunch because I talk how I fucking talk. And if you want me to say nothing, then don't interview me because that's just not how I roll. I'm not going to change who the fuck I am for your platform. If you want me, you better have somebody pushing a fucking beeping button and it's going to have a lot of beeps. But I don't say what I say to, like, get a ruse out of people or a rise out of people. Like, this is who I am, you know? And I think that's what resonates with people. And that's why I think our movement has continued to grow. Why Lions Not Sheep grows is because people are waking up going, dude, I'm a fucking sheep. Like, I'm a sheep. I'm following. I'm literally in a family where I hate my family. And there's nothing, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but, like, I just hate everything. I'm not happy. And I'm doing as I'm told. And I'm fucking miserable. And I was there. And I think that's why people resonate with what I'm saying is I get it. I know what it's like to put a freaking gun in my mouth. I know what it's like to be depressed. I know what it's like to freaking sedate with alcohol and chicks and everything else. I've been there, man. I did all that stuff. And I got to a place where I was like, dude, like, I don't want to be angry anymore. Like, I'm tired of this bullshit, man. Like, I want to do my own thing. Like, racing my truck. I have no business racing, bro. I didn't grow up in a racing family. I didn't ride a dirt bike until I was, like, in my 20s, right? I know nothing about it. And a few years ago, my buddy who owns a huge company here in town said, hey, man, come down to Mexico and fly you down to the Baja 1000. And on the way down, I want you to just document and show me how to use social media. I was like, cool. So I jump on his $25 million jet. We fly down there. It's first class, everything. It's awesome. And he finishes the race in his trophy truck, his $500,000 trophy truck, and he jumps in a helicopter and he flies out and he jumps in the Razor that his son, who was 15 at the time, was driving. So him and his son are racing. They've been racing his whole life. And they cross the finish line. And I'm standing there and I got emotional. I was like bawling, man. I was like, fuck, this is the game. Like, this is the game. This is why I work. This is why I'm fucking stacking cash. This is why I make money. Why the fuck do I care about having mounds of cash in my bank? Like, I want this. And I literally picked up my phone on the finish line in Ensenada, Mexico, and I FaceTimed my son, who was 10 at the time. And I'm like, bro, do you want to do this? And he's 10. He's a little motorhead. Like, Travis Pastrana is his idol, right? He's like, yeah, Dad. And literally in that moment, I was like, this is the game. This is why I'm here. Like, what are you doing, Sean? Like, what the fuck are you doing? You're going to put this on your bucket list and do it when you're 50? You might not be alive at 50, bro. And I literally came home, and 30 days later, I bought a truck. And 30 days after that, my son and I had our very first race, and I gave him my word. I said, you will be my co-driver in every single race. He was 10. I had to put a fucking booster seat in the race truck, bro.
Wow.
I literally, like, I'll never forget, as long as I live, I don't care what I see, I will never forget pulling up to that first pit at the Parker 425 in Arizona. And I had this team that I put together and assembled. And they're like, Sean, we love you, dude. Like, we love that you're, like, so ballsy with all this other stuff, but you've never raced before. Maybe you should get a couple races under your belt before you put your kid in the truck. And I said, look, one of two things is going to happen. You're either going to help me do it, and we're going to do it safely, or I'm going to fucking duct tape the kid in, and we're going to roll, because I gave him my word, and this is how it's going down. And they're like, okay. And so I started the race with a buddy of mine, and he was helping me and coaching me. And, you know, I'm learning I literally had never driven a race truck before, ever. I'm driving this fucking race truck in this race, this professional off-road race. And I'm like, yeah, this is great. And I'll never forget pulling up to that pit, seeing my son with his race suit on and his big ass fucking helmet. That's like, it was the right size, but it looks giant on this little 10-year-old skinny kid's body. he's got his booster seat underneath his arm. And I lost it, man. I fucking lost it. I'm bawling like a baby. My buddy jumps out, and they're putting my son in, and they're strapping him in, and they connect our comms and our helmet. And he's like, and I'm like, hey, bud, can you hear me? He's like, yeah, Dad. And I fucking lost it, dude. I bawled for like the first 10 miles. I don't even know what the fuck he was saying. I'm trying to wipe my tears through this race helmet as I'm hauling ass through the freaking desert. And he's like, go right, Dad, go left, Dad. And I'm like, this is the greatest fucking thing ever. And that's the game for me, man. Yeah. Like, my son's raced the Baja 500. He's raced the Baja 1000 3 times each. And he's 13. Wow. You know what I'm saying? Like, I never did that shit when I was a kid. I didn't do that with my dad. I never went fishing with my dad. My dad was too busy working, doing the deal, like providing life, right? He didn't spend shit with time with me as a kid. Wasn't a bad man, wasn't a bad dad. That's just what he was programmed to do.
Nope.
Doesn't make you a bad person, but like, you got to stop and think for a second. Like dads, you can tell your kids, go live life, kids, go dream, go be an astronaut. But they see you slaving away at a job that you fucking hate, doing shit you don't like with people you don't like, coming home, having a freaking beer just to take the edge off, treating your old lady like shit. And you want them to turn out to be freaking rock stars and freaking astronauts and living their dreams? No, they're going to turn out like you. And I want my kids to understand that, like, there's nothing that they can't do in life.
And that's the thing, right? Like kids are way smarter, I think, than sometimes we give them credit for, because they don't. Like, you can sit them down and like you said, you can tell them. I've got 4 kids, right? And it's like, I can tell them you can go do anything you want to do, but like you said, when they see you doing stuff consistently that you don't, what are the odds that they're actually going to believe that, right? Like, they're not going to believe what we say. They're going to believe what we do.
Yep. I mean, I remember, like, I don't remember a whole lot of the things my dad told me, right? I remember some things, but like, I remember what he showed me.
Yeah.
I remember when my dad showed me, you know what I mean? We went to baseball games and we did a couple things here and there, but like, you know, I can tell my kid to dream, or he can watch me build my dreams.
Yep.
And yeah, I bought my race truck so that he and I could have something to do together. But don't get me wrong, I love racing, man. I did it for me too, you know, because I wanted to do something. I'm like, why would I not? Why would I not? You know what I'm saying? Like, money is money. Money is just this thing, and you exchange value for it, right? And so if you want more money, exchange more value, provide more service, provide something bigger and better. I mean, it's not hard to make money, dude. It's not hard to make money. There's literally dudes right now making millions and millions of dollars selling rubber penises. They sell dildos, bro. There are people that sell foam, sticks of foam, that have become multi-millionaires that motherfuckers float in a pool with. There are people selling rocks with words on them, making money. I don't know how to make any money, man. How am I make more money, man? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Get on your fucking smartphone and look.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So it's not a money thing. It's like, what the hell do you really want to do with your life? Who are you for real? Like, you're waking up. If you're watching this, good for you. You won the lottery this morning. You woke up. All right, cool. What are you going to do with it now?
Yep.
You know?
Well, and as far as like kind of moving into the lifestyle portion of it, because there's so many people that I know of that are constantly saying, you know, I don't have the ability to do what I want to do because I have to provide. Like, how do you marry those two things together? You know, when someone's like, I wish I could live like you do, Sean, or I wish I could live like you do, Derek, and just kind of work from your phone or your computer or whatever. Like, how do you get people to make the paradigm shift that, like, going out there and working 12 hours a day swinging a hammer doesn't have to be what you do for the rest of your life?
You can't. I mean, it's the old saying, when the pain of the current reality becomes greater than the fear of change, that's when a man will change. When
so often that's too late, right?
When the pain of where you are right now becomes greater than your fear of change, that's when you'll change. And at the end of the day, most people, like you said earlier, they just get comfortable, man. They get comfortable. And you know, you go to a 9-to-5 job and whatever else. I mean, dude, 9 to 5 is like a freaking warm up. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you spend an hour a day researching things, providing things, adding value, researching on how to make money, how to build a business, whatever, you know what I mean? You're talking about 7 hours a week. It's almost an entire fucking work day. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. People don't think that way. They're like, oh, I come home, I'm so fucking tired. Your goal and where you want to be and what you want to do isn't big enough. It doesn't scare you enough. You're not hungry enough. Straight up, you're not. You're just not. Don't lie and say, well, I got a strenuous job. Everybody's got a strenuous job, right? I mean, it's just what it is. People think that like being an entrepreneur is easy. You want to know what's really easy? Sitting at a fucking desk and getting a check, having somebody pay you every 2 weeks. That shit's easy, son. Like that's easy. When you take on the role of an entrepreneur and start your own business and provide for yourself, that shit's scary. That's the real deal right there. But that's what the determining factor is how bad do you really want it? I want to race, man. I want to live life. I want to see everything there is to see. And so at the end of the day, like I do the work necessary to build the lifestyle to be able to do that, period. And I don't take any excuses from anybody. I got bills. I have things. I have responsibility. You know what I'm saying? Like, I started off in my early 20s with a real job, 9-to-5 job. And I got fired from that job. And I was the best at my job. And the reason I got fired is because I wanted my boss's position. And I was good enough to take the position. You know what I'm saying? And the boss was like fucking freaked out by it.
You're a threat, man.
And I'll never forget as long as I live. We had just had a brand new baby. My daughter had just been born. We had a house, we had a mortgage, and I'll never forget that, like literally leaving with my shit in a box, and I drove up to this cemetery. It was a couple miles away from where I was working. I sat there, and I freaked out. I'm like, fuck, what am I going to do? Like, we don't have health insurance anymore. We don't have, like, I was making $32,000 a year. I don't have this $32,000 a year job. What am I going to do? And I was literally like, in that moment, I was like, fuck it, dude. Like, I'm going to do whatever I have to do. And I started selling insurance. I started selling cars. I just hustled my freaking ass off. And in the first couple months, I had basically 2 months saved up in the bank. And I knew that I had 2 months to be able to freaking get my shit together and learn a skill and provide value enough to be able to replace. And I've never looked back. Never looked back. And what's really interesting is if guys were really hungry, if they really were, and I'm going to throw the situation out to you and really chew on this, anybody that's listening to this. Like, if you like really wanted something, you would do it. Case in point, if you're a father and you have a child and your child gets kidnapped, right? And you know that if you don't come up with 50 G's by midnight tonight, your kid dies. I want you to really think about that. Oh, it's extreme. No, fucking really think about that shit because it's a mentality. If you don't come up with 50 G's and you have $1,000 in your bank account, 50 G's by midnight, your kid dies. What would you do?
Anything, right? Anything. So, and
that's borrow, you would steal, you would do any fucking thing possible. And you would get that 50 G's. Now, how does this relate? When you treat yourself that way, when you treat your success that way, when you have that fucking tenacity that you will stop at nothing to build your shit, to build your business, to build your life, that's when you become successful. But most people are lazy as fuck. They just give the words and they share the memes and blah, 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 blah. You're not hungry. Straight up, you're not hungry. Because if you were, with that same hunger that you would have to save your child, you would go fucking do it. But you don't. Straight up. And this is why, like, this is the differentiating factor between very successful people and not successful people, is that they are fucking hungry and they will stop at nothing to do what it is that they want to do.
Yeah. And it's funny because the first couple episodes that I started the podcast with were shortly after my dad died, ended up in kind of some legal stuff with my stepmom. And she gave us basically 2 weeks to come up with just under $1 million to buy her out, or else we were going to lose our family ranch. And I think a lot of people at that point would have been like, what's the use? Like, you can't even get a bank loan in 2 weeks, right? And so I remember going through the process of getting a hard money loan and all the fees and everything, like just knowing that this isn't going anywhere anytime soon. All this debt and all these fees and everything else. But it comes back to just what you said. I kept thinking, like, how bad do I want it? Like, am I willing to do all this? Am I willing to go in that debt? And I think a lot of people would have said, no, it's good. Like, we'll just sell it. I'll get a little chunk of money from it. But I was like, no, that's the lifestyle that I want. That's where I want my family to spend their time. I want to show my son how to elk hunt. I want to show my daughter how to ride horses in the mountains here and live in what I feel is paradise, right? So it's like, there's no amount of money that could ever make it not be worth doing that, right? And so that was such a big thing for me, like going through that process. And so when you say that, I mean, it resonates huge. Now, do you have clients, I guess, that that no matter how much you try to show them this, like they just still won't get out of their own way? Like, because I see that with people. I see people, like you said, that post the memes and they write the right slogans, but then it's like, but you're not doing it, man. Like, you're not doing what you're saying. Like, do you deal with that with your clients, or do you have like some crazy way of being able to motivate people that others don't?
No, I you know what? I mean, typically those people aren't my clients.
Yeah.
They don't like working with me because look, there's a time and a place for hugs. There's a time and a place for freaking that stuff. And then there's a time and a place to get punched in the face. And the truth of the matter is that getting punched in the face is extraordinarily uncomfortable. But that was what ultimately helped change my life, is I got punched in the face. And then I got punched in the face because I was a liar and I kept lying. And I was good at it. And most people are good at lying. Most people are good at, I mean, we've been programmed since we were little children to fucking lie. We're experts at this shit. We're experts at lying about what we really want, who we really are, how we really feel. And so most of my clients, I find that the people that I work the best with, who are part of the Lion's Den or my one-on-one coaching or whatever, are where I was back in the day when I was like, okay, I'm done. I'm done fucking around. Like, I've shared all the memes. I've heard all the shit. I've listened to Andy Frasilla's podcast. I've done it all. I'm fucking sick and tired of being sick and tired. And typically they have either had free programs or Googled free shit or whatever. And then it's like, okay, you know, maybe this bearded asshole has some legitimacy to it. And one of two things happens. People come in and they get their world rocked, because I don't have time for it. I don't need it. Right. Like, I have no problem telling people the truth. I smell lies from a mile away because I was an expert at lying. I told all of the lies. Like, the very first question I ask all my clients is, what do you want? Right? And if you stop and think about that question, 99.9% of people that were just heard me say, they're like, well, I want to be happy. Cool. What the fuck does that mean? Well, you know, I just want to be happy. What does that mean? I don't know, man. I don't know. So really what you're saying is you don't know. And that's the problem with most people. That's why I'm such a good fucking coach, because I don't let people stay in superficial shit, because that's where we're all living. Superficial la-la land, right? If you're looking for that, go to the bar with your buddies or go golfing or go hang out with your homegirls or whatever else. How you doing, Sally? I'm great. Oh, that's so fantastic. Can I get another Appletini? No, dude, she's fucking popping Xanax and she wants to kill herself, but your friends are fucking assholes who aren't willing to, like, hold you to a higher standard. And at the end of the day, like, that's what I look at as me being effective as a coach, and what Lions Not Sheep is really about is helping people see that, like, you're fucking lying. Like, how you doing? I'm good. If you're not good, say you're not good, because if you keep saying I'm good, you're never going to change anything, right? Like, that's the reason that my clients get such huge results. I mean, dude, I have school teachers. I have fucking gardeners. I have lawyers. I have doctors. I got fucking investors. Like, everybody, almost 600 clients around the world in my coaching groups, because, like, these are people that know that, like, I can lie and I can lead a very, very, very good superficial life, but I'm not happy. And at the end of the day, like, tough love, as we've heard, is still love, man. I want people to win. I love seeing people win. It's one of my greatest joys. There's nothing that I love more than seeing, like, a man own who the fuck he is and own his relationship, instead of calling her his old lady and being this hard ass, understanding that true alpha understands his femininity just as much as his masculinity. Understands he can go up in the mountains and kill an elk and rip its fucking intestines out and have blood all over him and come home and then dance with his woman in the kitchen. Make love. Say nice things. Like, that's real alpha. There's nothing that I love more than seeing people understand that and grasp that. But most people, dude, like, I don't have clients that stay stuck for very long, because ultimately I just freaking punch the shit out of you, and you're either going to freaking change and tell the truth, or you just go find some other freaking douchebag that'll allow you to just lie.
Yeah. So you asked that question, but what do you want?
Me? I want to do whatever the fuck I want. Literally, like, I don't want to work. I don't want to work. Real talk, I don't want to work. Sean, you have to work. Really? Says who? I've literally built a lifestyle and built a business that allows me to work the least amount possible. I intentionally try to work less every single day. And yet my income keeps going up. The tribe keeps growing. I'm not very fucking smart, and I don't have somebody feeding me money, like pouring it in from some trust fund. So is it possible that you can build that? Absolutely.
Yep. Well, I think
what do I want? I want to do everything. What does that mean? I want to travel like to every single place on my bucket list, starting with Thailand and Dubai. Those are the top 2 places that I'm literally looking at traveling to here in the next little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yep.
This is what I want. I want to maximize every second of every day.
Yeah. And I think, I mean, at least in my experience, I think so much of it just starts with making the decision. You know what I mean? Like actually making the decision, because I remember when I was walking away from, and we met a couple of years ago at an event at where I used to work at ClickFunnels, but when I was walking away, it was the same thing. It's like, it was a comfortable 6-figure deal, right? Like it was comfortable. But I remember getting to the point, and I didn't hate my job, but I just knew that I wanted to do more. And I wanted, like you said, I wanted freedom. I wanted flexibility. And I finally got to the point where I remember thinking like, I would rather be broke than not be happy doing what I'm doing. And I don't think you have to choose one or the other, but that was literally like where I got it. It was like, I would rather be broke than like say that I have to be here and I have to leave then. I'm going to make this much no matter how hard I work or how little I work. I was like, I would rather be broke than have to live by those standards. Mm-hmm. And I think people who are actually willing to make that decision aren't going to be broke because like they've already made the decision to be successful regardless. But I mean, like, what was it like for you? Like kind of going back, like, did you have kind of that, I would rather be broke than be doing this? Or did you have like kind of a decision that was like, I don't care what happens. I know I'm not doing this anymore. Like, did you go through that kind of same decision making?
I sat down. I was really good at real estate. I made a ton of money in real estate and I was really good at it. And I kept flipping houses and flipping houses and flipping houses. And I was doing it just because I was good at it. And I lost passion for it. And one day I found a mentor and I sat down with him at lunch and I was like, dude, you know, I want you to teach me how to do some capital, like these capital stacks, because I want to start doing some different real estate. And he's like, let me tell you, like, can I shoot straight with you? I said, sure. It's like, I appreciate you. And that's why we have this relationship. I'll never forget as long as I live. He says, ride the wave. So what do you mean? He's like, ride the wave. He's like, people fucking love you, dude. Lions Not Sheep is exploding with growth. Like people like are attracted to you in such a radical way. He's like, what do you want to do? And I was like, that's what I love doing. Like, that's where I'm at. Like, that's where my passion is, but I can make a ton of money. He's like, dude, you can always do real estate. He's like, it doesn't matter if the market's up or down. You've always made money in real estate. And he's like, ride the wave. And from that moment, I just decided, I literally sold every single asset that I had, every single piece of real estate that I owned. And I went all in on Lions Not Sheep. And it was the best decision I ever made. I mean, I didn't have a coaching company. I didn't run a coaching company. I didn't know how that shit worked. I just did it. I literally got online. I was like, who's doing what? What does this look like? I like this. I like it. I don't like this. I don't want to do this. I want to do this. And I just put it all together and here it is. You know what I mean? And I just decided like I wanted to do the shit that like I was passionate about. You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing that people don't understand is like, it's very simple to do that. You just have to figure out what you're passionate about. But the problem is most people don't know because they're lying. I mean, truthfully, like there are people that make like Cameron Haynes, you know, Cam Haynes, right? Yeah. On Instagram. He's an avid bow hunter. He makes a living bow hunting. You can't tell me it's not possible. Yeah. The thing is Cam like does shit that you're not willing to do. You know what I'm saying? Like he's truly passionate about it, which is why he does what he does. Yeah. That's the thing. Like most people are like, well, I'm passionate about travel. Cool. Well, then add value to the marketplace enough that you can get paid to travel. I don't know how to do that. Well, why don't you get on your fucking smartphone, dummy, and look at what other people are doing that are already doing it and copy what they're doing? Oh, you can do that? Really, bro? Really? See my point?
Yeah. Absolutely.
I just started looking at other coaches and I was like, I don't want to freaking be a dude standing up on a stage all day long, trying to freaking hustle and grind. What do I want to do? I want to share with people my story. I want to share the tools that I know the works. I want to share with people like what I know that I wrote about in my book. And that's what I built. And it affords me a phenomenal income. I'm able to do what I do anywhere, anytime, any place. And I love what I do. I truly love what I do.
That's awesome. That's awesome. It's so inspiring. I know we need to get to the point to where we're kind of starting to wrap it up, but I guess if there was one piece of advice, right? Because we've talked about a lot of stuff and dude, it's so awesome. Like the stuff that you go through, it just makes it so simple, right? Like, I mean, I think that's the beauty of what you talk about is consistent and simple. Whereas like there's other influencers, coaches and stuff that it's like, no, you have to have this big list of stuff to do, or you have to eat this big list. It's like the most simple people in my, or the most successful people, or at least the people who help others the most are the ones who kind of keep it simple,
right,
and have passion behind that. And so I love that about you. But if you were to give somebody one piece of advice who was like, my life isn't where I thought it would be, you know, I'm 35 years old and I always pictured at this point in my life, I'd be here, I'd be there. Like, if there was one thing they could take away from listening to this podcast, like what would that be? Like one piece of advice?
Tell the truth. Tell the truth. It might offend people. It might scare people. It might scare you. You might like not know how to orate it. Tell the truth, like the radical truth. When I say, what do you want? I want to be happy. You know, if I ask you enough and we strip that down, you might not want to be in your relationship anymore. You might hate your job. You might hate your freaking family. You might uncover some really, really, really dark shit. But if it's fucking truth, then you can go with, so you can build with that. But the problem is most people are terrified of truth, which is why they lie. We don't think we're lying. We're just not telling the truth. I say, what do you want? I want to be happy. Everybody wants to be fucking happy. Terrorists killing people want to be fucking happy, bro. You know what I'm saying? So what does that really mean? What do you really want? Well, I want to spend more time with my family. What does that mean? I want to be able to travel anywhere in the world that I want to. Awesome. Where? Exactly. I want to go here. Awesome. How much is it going to cost to go there? And now all of a sudden you actually have a blueprint and a map of how to get what you want versus this ambiguous, I want to be happy. I want to be free. I want freedom. I'm free to fucking stab you right in the eyeball right now with this pen if I wanted to. I'm completely free to do that. So what the hell does that mean? I want freedom. Cool. What does that mean? I sat down last year and with this guy in this big event that I was doing, and I asked the question, right? And I typically always pick somebody out. This guy, I said, what do you want? And he's like, I want freedom. And long story short, I kept asking him, he's like, you know, stresses and money and bills and da-da-da-da. And like, what do you want? And to make a long story short, we strip it all the way down. And he's like, I want to make $200,000 a year. I'm like, why? And he's like, because that would allow me to do this, 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 and this. Awesome. And within literally like 90 days, he literally built every single thing in his business that was really simple to do, that he already had a business to make $200,000 a year. But the problem was he was just like throwing shit up on the wall, hoping, praying. You know what I mean? There's a difference between people that get results and people that talk about getting results. And they get very, very clear on what they want. They tell the truth. This is what I want. I don't want to work. I don't want to. And the truth is, if you ask most dudes, I love working. I love going out, fucking sweating my dick off all day long. No, motherfucker, you'd rather be on a fucking zero gravity chair drinking a freaking beer on the beach, right? Well, yeah, but that's not possible. Why not? See my point?
Yep.
You tell the fucking truth, then you can actually start to build shit. Then you can get real. Then you can get raw. Then you can surround yourself with people that are also telling the truth. They can help you build shit. This is the reason that my community, why Lions Not Sheep in the Lions Den, is so fucking powerful, because these are the principles we live by. We're not afraid to call each other out. There's no butt soreness. There's no, oh, he said I'm a, you know what I'm saying? Do you want results? Yes or no? If you do, then you got to go fucking figure out the hard shit. You got to be asked hard questions. And so at the end of the day, if there's one thing that every single person can do listening to this, is tell the truth.
That's awesome. And it's so hard. Like that's the thing I've noticed. Most people don't want it. Most people don't want to talk about stuff. I mean, I come from a background in sales, and most salespeople stay on the surface level. The actual closers, right? The people who get money, who make stuff happen, are the ones who can get way below that. And I think it's the same way in life, right? So I want to wrap it up with one question left, because we've talked a lot about kind of liberation, like where you were, what brought you through that, the mindset behind it, the lifestyle that you have now. But I guess if the last question that I could ask you is this, is what do you want your legacy to be? Again, you talk about dying, you talk about laying on the deathbed. Like, what do you want the legacy of Sean Whalen to be?
I want my children to do whatever the fuck they want to do. I want to not leave them a single freaking dime, and I want them to live the life that they dream of.
Do you feel like up to this point you've equipped them to do that?
I hope I have. I pray I have. I hate the word hope. I shouldn't say hope, but I pray that I have. I empower them as much as I can. I mean, I'm with them all the time. And anybody who follows me on social media knows that, like, my number one thing is being a dad. I take being a dad more serious than anything else. There's nothing that would trump me being with my children. You know, it's the saddest thing. Like every single football season, my son plays football. His email goes out from the league, and there's all these teams inside the league that don't have coaches. I had 20, 22, 23 kids on a team. Now, one motherfucking dad steps up and says, I'm going to coach. Well, I got work. I can't. I have work. You know, what the fuck are you teaching your kid? What are you showing your kid? The work's more important than your kid. Well, I don't have the luxury. Motherfucker, we've already talked about this. So save your bullshit, save your lies, and just say that work and the story and everything else is more important than this 1 year of football with your kid. Because you want to know something? My kid just finished 8th grade football. He will never have 8th grade football again. I could make $1 billion fucking dollars. And you want to know what I can't buy back? 8th grade football, and 9th grade football, and 7th grade football, 6th grade football. And I can't buy back my daughter's first homecoming dance. I can't buy back. I could have all the money in the freaking world, bro. I can't buy this time back. So my legacy is I want to be on my deathbed. Chances are I'm never going to be on my deathbed. I'm going to like blow myself up or crash my race truck.
You know you're burning to death or something, right?
I pray to God I don't, because that would really fucking suck. I just hope something, it's quick and painless, right? But it's blaze of fucking glory. You know, I pray every day that like my legacy is truly my children. It's not giving them money. It's not leaving them billions of dollars in assets to divvy up. I want my kids to be able to live a life that they love, that they truly, truly, truly build themselves. They watch me doing what I want to do, and that they build and do what they want to do, and that they can make a living doing it. That's my legacy, is if I can leave independent children on this planet that are self-sufficient, that can think for themselves, provide for themselves, then I won the game.
Absolutely. I agree 100%. Sean, I appreciate you so much, man, hopping on here. And all you guys out there, he has the book. It's called How to Make Shit Happen. Make sure you buy it. It's on Amazon. Where else can they find it?
Amazon, or just go to SeanWhalen.com. You can find anything about me on SeanWhalen.com.
SeanWhalen.com. Also, if they want to know more about Lions Not Sheep, just lionsnotsheep.com, right?
Lionsnotsheep.com, or just go to SeanWhalen.com and everything.
Awesome. There. And if you're not following Sean on social media, I don't know what the hell you're doing. Facebook, Instagram, great stuff. He's going to make you mad some days, maybe, if you're a little sensitive. But the one thing that he'll always be is honest, and I freaking love it. I love everything that you've done, man. I think you've helped more people than what you'll ever know. Based upon what I see on your social media site, your kids are being raised the right way, and I commend you, man. And again, I appreciate having you on.
Appreciate that. Thanks for having me.
Awesome, man. We'll wrap this episode up. We'll see you guys all next time.